This video is going to be a look at one of the adjustments I think Aaron Glenn and the defensive staff for the Lions made in their Week 3 win over the Falcons. I think it's somewhat risky. I think it's very intelligent. I think basically it comes down to they were trying to get the best 11 or best 12, best 10 football players on the field for them at a time, whether it was their nickel defense or their base defense. Essentially, what I think Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell and the staff decided to do was get as many linebackers on the field as possible. I'll show you their base defensive look against the Falcons early, and then I'll show you one of their two nickel looks that I saw in the game. I'm really only going to focus on 7 plays here. This is not intended to be a comprehensive look at the entire 4 quarters. This is mostly going to focus on the first 2 possessions when I feel like the defense got off to a great start. The defense and Aaron Glenn was clearly in a very difficult and unique situation after the Week 2 home loss to the Seahawks. They often got beat by Geno Smith's accurate passing, including the game-winning touchdown pass to Tyler Lockett in overtime. On top of that, home loss for the second year in a row against Seattle. Multiple guys on defense got injured during that game. C.J. Gardner-Johnson out for a while, but somehow was able to finish the game just because he's made of something different from the rest of us. James Houston, a fourth, out for a while. I think 6 or 8 weeks, something like that. I thought Charles Harris got injured during the game, still played, but he played this week against the Falcons, so maybe it was a soft tissue issue or something like that, or maybe there was no injury and I misheard it. But in any case, multiple guys got injured in a game where they couldn't generate pass rush against the Seahawks, and then had trouble covering the DBs as well. And players from those 2 position groups got injured. The guys in the linebacker group, the inside linebacker group, Anzalone, Barnes, Rodriguez, and Campbell, they did not. And it seems like the staff had a discussion about what to do. How do we make this work? And I feel like they came up with an interesting strategy. I'm going to show you the plays here in a moment and give you my theory. Obviously, Tracy Walker was inserted for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Brian Branch, who had been playing nickel when all the other DBs was healthy. Branch moved into the base defense and was also on in the nickel as well, but he was one of the 2 safeties with Walker in the base defensive look. And then just brilliant usage of those 4 linebackers, Anzalone, Barnes, Campbell, and Rodriguez. They have been trying to rotate those guys in weeks 1 and 2 to get them opportunities to be on the field because they're all good football players. And this seemed to be an opportunity, or it seems as if Aaron Glenn and the defensive staff looked at this as an opportunity. As weird as that sounds with C.J. Gardner-Johnson out, James Houston, the fourth, being out, this might be looked at as an opportunity, and I think their response was really smart. Going to be 7 plays to explain it. I'm going to be honest with you up front. I don't watch or listen to press conferences for the Ravens or the Lions. I don't have time. I don't read articles. I follow, for the Lions at least, I follow one dude on Twitter, Easy from Speak Easy Sports. A pretty cool dude, and he apparently does like a show every day, and I see clips of that. That's about all I have time to see when I'm scrolling past. So in any case, if there's other updates or other coverage about this adjustment by Aaron Glenn, the defensive staff, feel free in the comment section to let me know what other people have said. I'm giving you my organic perception. First play of the game, 1st and 10. 21 personnel bunch and a screen down into the boundary for Atlanta. Goes for 7 yards. Anzalone, Campbell, and Barnes all involved in the tackle. Now, this is the base 3-4 personnel, but it certainly doesn't look like it. You've got 1 outside linebacker, Hutchinson, 3 interior D linemen, and then I'm going to convince you, or try to convince you, that Jack Campbell is playing a hybrid outside linebacker, inside linebacker position in this look against 21 personnel. You've got Joseph at free safety. Branch is rolled up as the strong safety into the field, and then your 2 corners, Sutton and Jerry Jacobs. And I think that Campbell is walked back because they've got him in this outside linebacker hybrid alignment, and he's not looking at that bunch to the boundary as being a direct run threat for whatever reason. It's 21 personnel. They certainly could run stretch into the boundary here. I would think that one of the edge players, in this case Campbell, would want to be up on the line, but for whatever reason they've got him rolled, they got him seated back on the motion. I mean, it looks like a 4-5. It's really like a 4-4 with the corner rolled up into the box. 7-yard gain on the screen, first play. So you may say, Coach, like they gained 7 yards on that. Like, what's your point? All right. Second play, 21 personnel, and you've got like this stack 4-4 look. Campbell, Barnes, Anzalone, Branch. So that's the second number 4 in the 4-4. And then these guys is your front 4. Now, this is the 3-4 personnel grouping, though, with Campbell being a hybrid outside linebacker, inside linebacker, along with Anzalone and Barnes. It's a brilliant play, by the way, from Jerry Jacobs. Would have been a pass interference. Yeah, he's a little early, but Hutchinson is able to get his hands on a football. I'll show you the end zone angle here in a minute. But just so you know, on this play, you've got the strong side, tight end, fullback to the left. Campbell is the will linebacker, basically, on this 4-3 look with the strong safety. Again, Branch rolled up into the box. And when the ball is on the hash versus the ball, when Campbell, is into the boundary versus to the field, he vacillates between the Sam and the will position in this defense on these first 2 possessions. There's a great look at it. If it were me classifying this, I would say Barnes is the Mike here. The will is Campbell. The Sam is Anzalone. And then there's your one, quote, outside linebacker. This is an overfront. This is a 4-3 overfront where I think that's Benito Jones is the 3. You got a 1 technique D tackle. You got a 5 technique in Kaminsky, and then a 9 in Hutchinson. That's an overfront for me, at least the terminology that I learned. But in any case, it's a play action here, and you got a lot of response from all 3 inside linebackers. I think Anzalone should probably be slow playing this a little bit more so he can get underneath of this over concept right here. This is one of the things that beat them against the Seahawks multiple times. The inside linebackers flowing too hard with the run and not slow playing it as the backside guy. What I'm saying is if you got straight flow here with everybody working to that side, I mean, look, if you've ever played inside linebacker or you've coached it, like you got to tell these guys to hit this stuff 1,000 miles an hour. But this guy on the backside, if you ask me, has to be able to play underneath of the over concept from the other side. And I think Anzalone gets, I mean, here's the guy who's running it. Look at the space that's between them. Anzalone should be able to turn and run. And that last little step, hedge back into the inside, is not his job, if you ask me. Great play by Jacobs. Well, great play by Hutchinson. Otherwise, it would have been a pass interference. So that's my look at the first possession in terms of the 3 inside linebackers being on the field at the same time. This is the same possession, 3rd and 3. So you've got your nickel look, all right? Branch down here, 6 up to the top side, and then Walker, your free safety, 2 inside linebackers on the field. Now you're going to see another nickel look in a little bit where one of the edge defenders is a 3rd inside linebacker. It'll be Barnes. Some cases it's Campbell. Basically a 3-3-5 look. 3 down linemen, 3 inside linebackers. One of them walked up to be an edge rusher. I think it was brilliant usage by Glenn and Dan Campbell of the personnel they had, the guys they knew they could trust. Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Jack Campbell. Great play by Anzalone here on this 3rd down. I mean, incredible tackle against Algier. This is man. And you're getting Branch on Pitts. London, I think, is coming across here as well. Basically trying to essentially pick or screen Algier's man. Anzalone and Branch perfectly run under it. Or split it, I should say. Rewind it back a little bit so you can see it. Branch, Anzalone. Branch goes over the top. Anzalone goes underneath. Boom, on the double slant. Great job by the inside linebacker getting the stop on the first possession. And the Lions defense is off and rolling. Same play, end zone angle, then we'll get to the second possession. I know we're 10 minutes in and we're still only on first possession, so and my apologies. I was trying to explain my theory in terms of what they're playing and where they're playing it in terms of field and boundary. All right, second possession. Now this gives you a really good, this is 2nd and 7, by the way. I skipped the 1st and 10. I think the 1st and 10 was 11 personnel by the Falcons, so I believe the Lions had their nickel look on the field. So I skipped it because I'm trying to show you the 3 inside linebacker look. So you've got Campbell, Barnes, Anzalone. It's 21 personnel, and this is the same exact formation that you had on the first play, except now the bunch is to the field. So the bunch is to the field, whereas it was to the boundary on the other play. Now this is going to be cover 3. I would caution or warn you as a Lions fan. I think you're going to see this play Thursday night by the Packers. I'll try to get a Packers preview out Thursday morning, but it's going to be tough to do. I think you're going to get this look, 21 personnel, possibly even the same formation, bunched to the field, and the over concept, whereby one receiver is, running the over, and the other one is running the vertical and try to draw or occupy the safety, in this case Walker, with the over concept. It's cover 3, if you ask me, where Branch and Campbell are playing curl flat, Branch to the field, Campbell to the boundary. That's smart. Branch is clearly more agile and a better coverage guy than Campbell. Campbell can handle curl flat to the boundary. Here's your 2 hash defenders, the inside linebackers. Cover 3 deep thirds. Cover 3 deep thirds, I think, is Jacobs up there. And then Walker, the middle of the field free safety, has jumped the over. I think you're going to see this concept on Thursday night by the Packers, and I think you might see it early. But in any case, it's cover 3. It's a brilliant usage, if you ask me, of your personnel on 2nd and 7. Campbell, theoretically, on a run concept, should be able to force it inside. I don't think in the preseason he had great reps when he was on the line of scrimmage in a tight end's face, meaning he was head up on the tight end. I don't think he had great reps. This is putting him outside leverage, a 9 technique. I think he looks better in that stance, and of course he had a sack to end the second quarter. But in any case, last look at it, cover 3, utilizing your personnel brilliantly. 3 of these guys are inside linebackers, Anzalone, Barnes, Campbell, but they've deployed Campbell as an outside linebacker because you've got a inline tight end to the boundary, whereas the first play, you did not. All right, 3rd and 7. It's going to be the completion to Drake London up the left sideline against Sutton. And this is the 3 inside linebackers that I'm going to talk about here. You got Campbell's off now. You got Rodriguez, Barnes, and that's Anzalone. So when we say 3-3, we're talking about Hutchinson, that's his helmet. Kaminsky, that's his helmet. And I think that is Charles Harris. And then the second number, 3-3. Second 3 is Anzalone, Barnes, Rodriguez. And then you've got 5 DBs. Branch, your 2 corners, Jacobs and Sutton. 6, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. And then I think that's Walker. Beautiful throw. I think you got a little bit of a push off by, I think it's Jonnu Smith, 81 in the middle of the field, kind of like a mesh concept, but playing man with 5 DBs on the field, 3 inside linebackers. Anzalone's done a pretty good job in a lot of these coverage situations, if you ask me. Jonnu Smith, maybe a little bit of a push off there, but first down for the Falcons on their second possession. All right, this is a great look at what I'm talking about when I say hybrid. Now they've got Campbell to the field. On the previous iterations where you saw this, Campbell was down here to the right. He's 46. Barnes was the next guy, 55. And then Anzalone was to the field, 34. Now they've switched it, okay? Campbell is to the field. Anzalone is to the boundary. Barnes is the mic. They're going to walk Campbell down on this 1st and 10, create a 3-4 look. Hopefully you'll agree. There's your outside linebacker, interior 3, 2 inside linebackers, 3-4 look. Campbell's playing a hybrid inside linebacker, outside linebacker position. This is an amazing play by Anzalone. I'll give you the end zone angle here in a moment. Forgive me if I'm talking too much about the positional designations and what things are called. I love talking defense. I was a former defensive coordinator in high school, so this stuff is fun for me. It's an under front. When you get the end zone angle, you'll see it. Anzalone comes downhill. Fullback trying to smack him in the mouth. He sheds the block. Ritter gets 2 yards. We'll talk about the front and then the read here in a moment. It's an under front. So when we say under, what we mean is, let's say the strength is called to the fullback or to the field. The field's over here. The boundary, the short side is where the run's going to be. So under front, you got a 3, you got a wide 5, which is Hutchinson, a 1 or a shade, a 5 technique, which is Kaminsky, and then your 9 technique. Now Campbell is playing the Sam. If you're familiar with the terminology, you knew that already when I started the explanation. If not, basically they're asking Campbell to play 2 different positions depending on where he's lined up. Looked like he was playing Will to the boundary, Sam to the field. And then let's talk about the play and the read, because it's cool stuff. If you're a Lions fan, maybe you're familiar with this. Maybe you're not. I'm a Ravens fan, so the Ravens ran this pistol option stuff for a couple of years with Lamar under Greg Roman. So they're reading Aiden Hutchinson. And when I say they, I mean they. 2 guys. This is called a dual read. Ritter and the fullback are reading Aiden Hutchinson. And since Hutchinson steps down, the quarterback, first of all, is not going to give it. It's a keep read. So the tailback's going to run downhill. Ritter's going to keep it. You've already seen it, and then run out to the edge because the read man, Hutchinson, has taken the fullback. Additionally, has taken the dive man. Additionally, the fullback, he is reading Hutchinson as well. So since Hutchinson comes down the line, the fullback knows that the quarterback's going to keep it. So since he's going to keep it, he's going to loop around Hutchinson and try to go get the front side inside linebacker, which in this case is Anzalone. So I'll run it back multiple times so you guys can see it. It's called a dual read. They're both reading the edge defender, trying to make it to where the edge defender can't be right, creating a 3-on-2, 3 with the quarterback, tailback, and fullback against these 2 to the boundary. If you were to do it the other way, if Hutchinson was to be undisciplined and go upfield for whatever reason, then the fullback and the quarterback would read it, the quarterback would give it, and the fullback again would go get the front side inside linebacker, except he'd go inside of Hutchinson. Hopefully I explained that in a way that makes sense. If it was too elongated for you, forgive me. But the option stuff is stuff that A, I have personal experience with, and B, the Ravens ran for the last couple of years. So I like explaining the dual read, especially to new fan bases who maybe haven't seen it before. All right, 2nd and 8. Watch Campbell this time walk back, I think, from Campbell doesn't walk back. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the previous play. You got a stack 4-4 look again. Now Campbell's to the boundary. He's the will. He's the will. The tight end is to the field here. So Campbell on the previous play was the Sam. Now he's the will. Barnes is the Mike. Anzalone is the Sam. There's the strong safety. Walked up to the field. Branch. I think the Falcons may have been checking to see. This is Benito Jones with the sack, by the way. An unbelievable play to really get the ball rolling in terms of pressuring the quarterback. It's basically a 4-3 look. On the previous play I showed you, Campbell was the Sam in the 3-4. Now it's a 4-3. Are they going to do this week against the Packers? Well, I don't think C.J. Gardner-Johnson or James Houston is going to be healthy and back. They may have to. This may have been the only strategic option that they had. Still have to give them credit for doing it, if you ask me. 3rd down, this is a 3-3 look, the same thing that I described earlier. That's Kaminsky, Hutchinson, and Harris. That's your 3, the first 3. And then you've got Barnes, Anzalone, Rodriguez. They've put Barnes up as an edge defender. I'm not sure if other people who do content about the Lions have, talked about the usage of the inside linebackers. I know Barnes did play some edge defender, outside linebacker, maybe played in a 4-3 system in college. He beats the right tackle for a sack. It's not a great, pass rush by him necessarily. He's getting chipped by the tight end. I think he had a better rush later in the game, if you ask me. It's cool to see him. I mean, I felt like when the Lions drafted Jack Campbell, he handled it with class. I never heard him say disparaging things, but I think I heard him say something like, I'm not going anywhere. And he's not. But you can see very clearly you've got inside linebacker, and they've walked him up. They did this with Campbell. Like I said earlier, Campbell got a sack to end the second quarter. 7 sacks on the day. Got more football players on the field, as many good football players as they could on the field. Campbell, Barnes, Anzalone, Rodriguez are all guys who offer something to the team. And in this case, Aaron Glenn and the rest of the defensive staff, the head coach Dan Campbell, I think did a great job of handling the injuries, coming out there, putting a better product on the field. Because let's be honest, the tackling against the Seahawks wasn't good. The block destruction against the Seahawks wasn't up to the standard that the Lions have for themselves in 2023. Things looked a whole lot better this past week. This was supposed to be a short look. Forgive me, the video lasted 20 minutes, but I wanted to show what I think was their philosophy, which was let's get as many of these four guys on the field as possible. Run downs, it looked like Campbell. Pass downs, it looked like Rodriguez. Anzalone and Barnes was just staying on. And then they were subbing on or off an extra interior defensive lineman and or an extra nickel defender, number 6, to match up with what the Falcons did. I'll be interested to see what the Packers do Thursday night. If I get time this evening, I'll try to work up something about the Packers' third down plays and some of the things I've noticed them doing with Jordan Love prior to Thursday night's game. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you think other Lions fans would enjoy this content before Thursday night's game, please consider grabbing a link, sharing this out on social media to help my content get more reach.